All right, let's just jump right in. Look, there's no denying it. We are in the middle of a massive AI boom. I mean, every company out there is scrambling to get AI into their workflow. But, and this is a big but, beneath all that hype, a really serious problem is brewing. It's this hidden crisis of risk that could have, well, huge consequences for businesses. And that brings us to a pretty provocative question, right? Is the corporate AI that everyone's adopting, is it actually a ticking time bomb? Because honestly, when you start to dig into the data, the picture gets a whole lot more worrying than you might think. 2,500%. Just let that number sink in for a second. That's not a typo. Gartner is predicting that by 2028, we're going to see a 2,500% surge in software defects. And why? It's all because of this opaque AI-generated code that humans just can't easily check. It's a staggering figure, and it points to a really fundamental flaw in how we're approaching AI right now. So if we really want to get a handle on this risk, we've got to pop the hood, look inside the machine. The core issue, the thing that's genuinely keeping experts up at night, is what's known as the AI black box problem. So here's the deal with the black box. You feed data in one side and an answer spits out the other. And it's fantastic at finding patterns, but it can't show you its work. There's no logic trail to follow. And that's the whole problem, right? If you can't see how a decision was made, how on earth can you possibly trust it? And these failures, well, they show up in some really critical ways. And we're not talking about funny little glitches here. We're talking about models producing answers that sound totally believable, but are just completely wrong, what we call hallucinations. They make hidden mistakes in their own logic, they totally misunderstand crucial context, and sometimes they don't even get what you're asking for in the first place. So you see how all of these technical problems start to snowball into something much, much bigger. We're moving way beyond just buggy code and into a full-blown crisis of trust with serious, real-world consequences for any business that decides to just ignore it. And look, this isn't just a guess. You can measure it. As you can see right here, software written by AI introduces bugs, and even worse, serious security holes at a rate 1.7 times higher than code written by a human. That is a tangible and, frankly, pretty alarming increase in risk. Oh, and by the way, there's a clock ticking. By 2026, huge regulations like the EU AI Act are going to come into full force. And all of a sudden, that technical risk we've been talking about, it's about to transform into a massive legal liability. I mean, just think about the industries where the stakes are the absolute highest. In healthcare, a wrong diagnostic could lead to devastating malpractice suits, not to mention huge HIPAA fines. In finance, a flawed underwriting model could trigger massive class action lawsuits. These fields require a level of show me your work that a black box it simply can't provide. Okay, so we've laid out a pretty big problem. So what's the solution? Well, it isn't to just throw AI out the window. It's about fundamentally changing our relationship with it through a philosophy called the human-in-the-loop solution. I love this quote because it perfectly captures the core idea. Instead of trying to engineer the doctor or the financial analyst or the logistics manager out of the system, we should be focused on empowering them, giving them AI tools that supercharge their own skills and expertise. Here's a really simple way to think about it. An AI looks at a warehouse and just sees an empty shelf. The data says stock is low. But a logistics manager with years of experience knows why that shelf is empty, because it's the designated spot for a huge shipment that's arriving in 1 hour. You see? That human context is everything. It's absolutely irreplaceable. So, how do you actually put the expert back in the driver's seat? Well, you get rid of the black box and you replace it with a transparent glass box. The whole goal is to create an AI that is genuinely understandable to the business expert who's actually using it. And the process, it has to be transparent and simple. Step 1, the expert asks a question, just in plain English. Step 2, they see the answer visually in charts and graphs. And step 3, and this is the key, they can actually click in and inspect the underlying formulas to check the logic for themselves. In the old way, a business expert was faced with something like this. Just complicated lines of Python code that are completely indecipherable. It's a total wall. There's nowhere to go.
But the new way, it offers a clear visual interface. The AI explains its plan, it shows you the results, and it presents the logic as a simple Excel-style formula that anyone can read and verify. This right here, this is the bridge between AI's power and human trust.
This glass box approach, what some people are calling the DistilX triad, is built on 3 core pillars. You've got a natural language chat to ask questions easily, clear visuals to see the results, and a simple but really powerful formula language, so the end user can actually validate the calculations and stay in charge. And this technical solution brings us right back to that business problem we started with. It directly tackles the crisis of risk by shifting the entire mindset away from liability and towards accountability. I mean, the difference is night and day. Before, you had a one-shot, unreliable answer from a black box. Now, you get verifiable queries you can actually trust. You stop creating these risky one-off scripts and you start building trusted, automated systems. You're creating real, valuable assets for the company. And this right here, this is the real game changer. When you build a process with a complete audit trail for every single step, and you empower an expert to review everything the AI does, you've suddenly got a defensible system. You're building human verification right into its heart. So as AI gets deeper and deeper into every critical part of business, it really all boils down to this one simple question. If your company's future, its reputation, its legal standing depended on a single decision made by an AI, wouldn't you want the ability to check its math,